So we're the film lovers, and we're here to discuss the highly anticipated classic.
Well, it's not a classic.
No, I mean, I'm sorry, the sequel to the classic,
right.
Halloween, which I just thought about. That's kind of weird. It doesn't have a subtitle.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything.
Just Halloween 2018.
Can you close the closet door?
Yeah.
So we're talking about that. We actually just a couple hours ago just saw both of us in theaters together. Before we actually get into it, I wanted to actually like your history a little bit with the series and stuff.
Yeah.
I used to watch the series all the time as a kid and stuff like that, so I'm pretty familiar with it, and even the sequels and stuff. You kind of got to it a little later, right? You were...
Yeah, and for better or for worse, after Friday the 13th, like I'd been more exposed to Jason and Friday the 13th stuff.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
And probably even like Nightmare on Elm Street, I guess, a little bit more.
Really? Okay.
Kind of, yeah.
But did that hurt the experience of watching the original?
It did a little bit.
Did it
I think,
really? Oh.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the Friday the 13th, I mean, I enjoy, a handful of them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, genuinely enjoy them, even though I don't really think any of them are, like, really actually, like, good movies. I mean, I don't mean to be, like, snobbish about it,
pretty good. Yeah, pretty sure.
I would say 2 through 4.
Yeah, I guess the first one.
I don't really like the first one that much.
Yeah, I guess I didn't either.
Because spoiler alert, I mean, Jason's not even in it,
Yeah.
He became so... His image and stuff was so iconic to it, and then when I went to actually watch the first one, I was like, oh, he's not even... Anyway, we're getting off track there, but...
By the way, it's spoilers for Halloween, possibly even other entries in the series. I don't know. We're not going to go through the whole series, but we may bring up things that happened in some of the sequels and stuff.
I mean, because of the timelines and stuff now.
Yeah.
There's 3.
Which
between 1 and 2,
funny, but...
Between 1 and 2 and H2O, and then 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and then 1 and Halloween 2018.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so seeing Friday the 13th, and of course, I mean, I grew up after the slasher genre was really in its peak,
really.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we both were.
We more grew up on the postmodern, deconstructive Scream era. Meta stuff where there's inside jokes maybe, or just
New Nightmare, Scream, that kind of.
Yeah.
Even though New Nightmare, we were pretty young when that came out, but that kind of type of movie.
Right. Yeah. And. Yeah, I mean, Friday the 13th just, it did kind of cheapen it a little bit when I did see Halloween the first time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I still, later, as I was more able to step away from the movie or even watch it a couple more times, I definitely was able to start creating, like, an idea in my mind of the identity of that movie. I mean, it's just an understanding, what it was and what it still is, you know what I mean? Yeah,
you gotta, to appreciate it on a certain level, you also have to put yourself in that time frame, like 77.
Right.
I'm sorry, was it 78?
Yeah.
There just wasn't these type of movies. There's precursors, like you have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was, I think, 74.
Psycho in its own sort of way.
Psycho in its sort of way.
Prowler was another one.
Black Christmas. John Carpenter said he was heavily...
With like the POV stuff,
shots and stuff. So yeah, you kind of have to put if you're coming from our generation, which
you got to put it in perspective.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I've just been able to really come to appreciate what Halloween, the original one, does so well. Which is, I mean, I just think the way John Carpenter composes his shots, the long takes, the wide angle shots. How there's not a lot of cutting, editing, like a ton of editing. It's methodical. It's almost kind of like John Carpenter said this. He was inspired by like westerns. Like westerns is like his favorite genre apparently, and even has said that he's always kind of like creating a western, which obviously can't mean content, but like at least like
I think
maybe the
even-
pace of the movie or the way there's a lot of it's calm and then things explode for like things get crazy for a second and it's calm again.
Yeah.
And also he says that he prescribed to through film school was the German expressionism, which is more
Yes, exactly.
it's more methodical and long takes, wide shots, letting a lot of the imagery sink in instead of, I guess, the other alternative of the time was described as Russian editing, where it's very quick cuts. You create excitement and stuff through quick cutting and stuff. A
lot of good directors were at least slightly, or if not a lot, influenced by the German expressionism stuff.
Yeah.
Hitchcock. I mean, when he started, he did stuff in German and stuff, and was heavily influenced by, to make visual style kind of, and
really impress you by
shadows would be important,
and lingering on it, letting the camera linger on it, not immediately cutting every 3 seconds to some different shot. So the atmosphere, the music is, is so freaking iconic.
It's really good. I mean, it's up there with probably the top 5 themes for a movie, I would say, almost.
Yeah, really.
I mean, it's so iconic.
Yeah, it's and it's interesting the weird time signature it's in, and of course, I don't know if a lot of people know this or casual moviegoers, but like John Carpenter, of course, did the music for a lot of his movies. I would say probably almost like 70% of
Wouldn't he sometimes also collaborate though with other composers and stuff?
Mainly, it was Alan Howarth.
Okay.
Who I think
a mix of his stuff and the composer kind of thing.
From the way I've seen, like Alan Howarth when he's been interviewed about what the process was like, it was more like Howarth would give some ideas, but a lot of it was more because of his technical expertise with the equipment.
Gotcha.
So he'd help John Carpenter, like if John Carpenter's like, I want this sound, or something, he'd be like, well, okay, let's figure that out, and I'll show you, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he pretty much always gets co-credit with the music.
John Carpenter,
a lot of the music, that John Carpenter did for his movies. And it's really interesting to me, it's always interested me that, you have somebody who's not only dictating the pace of what's on screen, but that same person has, a very hands-on then approach with what you're hearing, you know what I mean, with the music. And I think it's really interesting. It's really interesting to me. It's really cool to me when you can really create a synergy between what you're seeing and what you're hearing with the music and stuff to affect your emotion or whatever with the stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I always appreciate a director who's involved in a lot of the steps. You get directors though that just kind of hand off. They do the directing, but then they hand it off to a composer, not with very little input.
Right.
Or same with the editing, all that stuff. But you get guys like John Carpenter and stuff who are obviously involved through the whole process. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah. And
same with the original Halloween. I was just thinking that's what I've always liked about it. It's just well made. It's just really well made.
And for the longest time was the most profitable independent film ever until I think we were talking about this. I couldn't remember. I think it was either like another horror movie, really, like
probably
like Blair Witch Project or
that might have been it
or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's even been overtaken by something else after that.
Probably.
But anyway, I mean, you had a long history with Halloween, right? You were saying that at a young age. See, I wasn't exposed to a lot of this more violent stuff
Slasher
until
stuff,
I was into my teens for sure. Usually, so.
Yeah, it's just always been a part of films I've liked and watched and stuff like that. And then I just now looking at the original, it's well made. It's more than well made. It's just really well shot, creepy, eerie, atmospheric.
The breathing.
Yes.
Hearing
which,
him
oddly enough, we've talked about, the sequel seemed to completely get rid of.
Except maybe the second one and
Maybe.
H2O. Maybe.
I don't know if H2O included breathing. Kind of weird.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I don't know why they dropped that because it's an effective.
It's very effective.
Yeah, I don't know why they stopped.
It's great.
Doing that.
You know, it's. It's like next to like Darth Vader with his breathing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're not as familiar with those, but just
that kind of
it's
thing.
so iconic to that character.
Yeah.
The feel of
Yeah. So moving on from that, the sequels will just lump kind of quickly together. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I saw them. And, they're hit or miss. Really.
Out of order. Did you see them out of order? Or did you really try to actually?
I did kind of see them out of order. That's true. Yeah. So that affects the experience. But looking at it from an overall experience, it kind of a mess after the first one. I mean, it goes all over the place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the 6th one in the series, he's part of a cult. It goes crazy.
Yeah. They really try to delve into his
motivation.
Because as far as the original movie was concerned, and John Carpenter and Deborah Hill were concerned, he's just like evil.
He's evil.
And there's this weird
personified.
There's this weird slight supernatural or
that only comes until the end.
Really only until
I mean
the
the whole way.
So,
this is a human, and then that ending, you're like not sure what's going on. And
right.
Like we were just talking about the a little bit ago. The ending is great, where Jamie Lee Curtis is emotionally spent. Tears on her face and eyes, and like you said, she says,
was that
the boogeyman? Yeah,
and
Donald Pleasence.
Pleasence is like, as a matter of fact,
it was. Great ending.
And
what's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
I mean, really, I would have been happy. I mean, with that.
If it had just all.
Yeah, because as an audience member, you're just kind of left like, this mystery, mystery almost, even just like, more haunting. It's more haunting, and you get the great ending where it's his breathing.
Yes.
And just shots of scenes that we've,
settings
settings
really
that
good.
we've seen.
That's
It's
so
great.
simple and
Works perfect. So, quickly going on to the sequels, I don't think that the second one is as good as everyone says it is, but that's, whatever. I mean, it's okay. Again, I didn't really need an explanation of where he went after he disappeared. Yeah. The sister thing is kind of goofy in hindsight. It's kind of weird. I mean, it's fine, I guess, because they have a sequel. They have to create content for it.
What's interesting, too, just talking about Darth Vader with the breathing, it's kind of like a twist, just like it's Empire Strikes Back.
Yes,
like, I'm your father. The good guy and the bad guy
are connected.
Literally that connected.
Yeah,
Same thing with Halloween, which came out in 80. The second one came out in 81.
That's right.
So after one or two of the Friday 13th had come out,
yes,
Empire Strikes Back had been out for at least probably a year. And they go with that same kind of development or twist.
Yes. I just felt like, I remember even as a kid watching it, I'm like, well, this could be interesting. The second one, they might carry on that vibe, but do a different, setting or whatever, carry on the story. And then I watched it, I'm like, oh, it falls into the trap that a lot of sequels do. They just try to outnumber the victims, outdo the murders.
Right.
And it was just like, this doesn't even feel like Michael Myers anymore. It's just like, I remember like one of the first murders, I was like, this is so out of character. Like, he stalks this woman, and then she walks like down her hallway, and he literally jumps out, and then blood squirts on her face, and that's it. It just seemed really out of character for him.
Well, that's the thing too. The first one hardly is like any blood.
That's the other thing.
The sequels really were getting caught up in that Friday the 13th gore fest thing, so they really amped up the blood.
Yeah, and then you jump to 4. it's whatever. It's fun, I guess, in its own way. It has a lot of problems. It's not good. It's not that good. As a kid, I enjoyed it. As a kid, you're not that critical of stuff. You know what I mean? You just watch it. It's fun, entertaining. And then the 5 and 6 are really two of the worst. Up there with, to me, Resurrection. They're just a joke. I would almost say Resurrection's the worst, and then you got 5 is really close.
5, yeah.
6 is the third, I would say. Although 6 is really bad too.
Even the producer's cut.
Yeah, I kind of like the producer's cut when I first saw it, but
It still doesn't help enough.
it's not enough. And then once you see the silliness of it, it's like, I don't need to know that he's controlled by a thorn tattoo and cult, and it's just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on from that.
So it's definitely uneven.
Yeah, we'll just go from there. But
and then coming into the 90s, Scream, I think, really brought back not only the slasher genre in a way, but to some degree.
Sure.
But also, Halloween is like really featured in that movie. It's interesting.
Yeah, they reference it. And there's footage
and
of
they're
it.
watching it during the last
act.
act of the movie.
Yep.
And there's the music.
Yes.
He even like Wes Craven even like uses the music as part of like what is happening apart from what they're watching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's almost like a tribute in a weird way. Yeah.
And so then H2O came out, and they got back Jamie Lee Curtis. Donald Pleasance had died a few years earlier.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
He died while making Fit 6, actually.
Right.
Pretty much.
And really, other than that, the one nurse from the beginning.
Well, whatever.
I mean, there's a couple like minor characters, right, who like make a return.
Mm-hmm.
It's so minor though that you really have to kind of almost pay attention.
Funny enough, I think this is the first Halloween I saw.
H2O.
Yes.
So I wouldn't be that surprising.
Yeah, I mean, just because of our age at that time and stuff.
Right.
So, it has a lot of problems, but, I enjoyed it.
I thought it was a decent continuation and a decent kind of ending as far as we would have been concerned up to that point.
Yeah, really, I mean, ultimately when it comes down to it, if you want to follow that timeline, skip the sequels. Just watch Halloween and H2O, really.
Even though apparently Halloween 2 is part of that continuity.
I don't know how it is. But there's some gray area there because whatever. So anyway, I have nostalgia for it. I see a lot of flaws in it and problems, but overall it's a fun, good movie.
I enjoyed it, yeah. There's some pretty good parts in it.
Yeah. Suspenseful, thrilling.
With the music or...
Yes.
Yeah, just...
Yeah, exactly. We're going to skip Resurrection. I don't even have time. Maybe we'll review that separately. Maybe at some point we'll kind of do a whole series review.
Yeah.
So now we have the new timeline, which ignores all the sequels we just talked about. It jumps from Halloween to Halloween.
So 1978 to 2018.
Exactly.
So 40 years.
Yep, exactly.
After what happened with the what do you call it? The remakes.
Oh.
I mean, I hadn't been following it as long as you, but I just wasn't really expecting. I didn't think Jamie Lee Curtis would ever come back.
I didn't either.
I didn't think John Carpenter would ever get involved in any way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so when I heard those two were going to get back involved, it was really
interesting.
It helped.
Yeah, it
really
helps.
kind of get me more excited. I didn't really go into this movie with that much expectations, though. Really,
I didn't either. It was a little hyped. I mean, it actually got some pretty good reviews, so that hyped it for me. And you and I personally, we put on Halloween 2 theme while we were driving there and some John Carpenter stuff.
Pumped up.
And that started to actually really pump me up.
Right.
And as we were getting closer to the theater, I'm like, this could be exciting, cool to see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the movie starts. They're at the mental institution, the two podcasters, right? And they go to see Mike Myers.
Yeah. And this... you were saying though with the director real quick, I just want to say too.
Oh yeah.
He had never done a horror movie before.
As far as I know.
And oddly enough, Danny McBride was big in pushing for this movie to be made.
Yes.
And he was involved with the writing. Right?
Funny enough, you were just saying you didn't imagine Jamie Lee Curtis coming back. there's a story that Jake Gyllenhaal, the actor,
Yeah.
he's the one who convinced Jamie Lee Curtis to do it.
Oh yeah, that's
I read that. I was
that.
like,
That
and it turns out they're really good friends. Like the Jamie Lee,
he's her godson, right, or something.
something connected with
Like they
Ryan
are
Gosling.
connected in some
Yeah, but they're really like close. good
Gyllenhaal, you mean?
Yes,
not
Jake
Gosling.
Gyllenhaal. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, they're really, they said they're family friends is how they worded it. And I just thought that was unusual. I guess they had dinner or something, and he convinced her to do it.
After she had already been approached. And,
Probably, yeah. So, just,
I mean, yeah, just your expectations, though. I'm more interested in your expectations because you really had been you have a lot of history more than I do.
So. My initial thought was, this is stupid. Why are they making another?
Just
Halloween?
When you heard.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly what they were doing. This is early
Particularly,
stages.
too, I was like,
Yeah, it's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think what elevated my expectations was, like I said, it got good reviews.
Yeah.
And stuff, and
are you talking about the wide release reviews, like the critic sneak reviews?
And as we're talking right now, it has a 7.4 on IMDb.
And what's the Rotten Tomatoes,
I don't know off the top. It's maybe 60 to 70%.
And
so it's not great.
It's the second weekend.
Yeah, so now more people have reviewed it and stuff.
Gotten into the mix and.
So. Yeah, I mean. I'm not sure.
Gonna have to edit that out. That took a long time.
Yes. God forbid we have human
I know.
feelings.
We gotta keep quick editing.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is another thing we will be getting to.
Oh yeah.
In this movie. So.
So let's just say right now, before we get into all the little details, my overall impression when the credits rolled was like, okay. I mean, it was like, okay. I have a lot of problems with it. And I was kind of disappointed, to be honest. I mean, it was, I don't know. There were things that worked, but there were a lot of stuff that made me go, what? Like, why? I almost think, just off the top, I'm thinking of the first thing I thought, it was weird. I almost didn't buy Jamie Lee Curtis 40 years? Is that the idea?
Yeah, right.
Wouldn't be like that.
She was almost murdered.
Wasn't it her brother who murdered all those babysitters?
Do you know that I pray every night that he would escape?
What the hell did you do that for?
So I can kill him.
I don't know why. I just thought 40 years later, I just thought like...
She wouldn't be so...
I just thought, I didn't buy it. I almost bought her what she was doing in H2O more. You know what I mean? That she had moved on in a way. She still had flashback.
Right.
I was like, I almost bought that. I bought that more.
Yeah.
Like, she's a tough character.
It seemed more natural, not so extreme.
Yeah.
For the sake of just forcing drama.
Yes, I mean...
making an easy thing to write.
Exactly,
it was a little more nuanced.
And that was the other thing. The booby traps and stuff were way over the top. All that stuff was over the top.
I mean, we already talked about spoilers. I mean, this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So.
Well, what were your impressions?
Keep going, man. Keep going.
Okay,
because I mean, really, you got the history, so.
Okay. Well, yeah, there were things. It's weird. So I'm gonna go through some of the stuff I had problems with, and then. The other thing I didn't like was I just felt the Michael Myers thing, I was shocked because I thought they're going to make it more down to earth, like his murders. His murders were so over the top.
Excuse me, somebody's in here.
Hello?
They ridiculous, and it's like, wait, how old is this guy again? He's supposed to be like, I know.
That was my thing going into it.
I know. And okay,
and again, he's the shape.
Yeah, I know. So
supernatural. But
if it wasn't so over the top, I probably wouldn't even address the age. But it's kind of like it's broad. I mean, the murders are so over the top. I mean, they are brutal, actually, in a weird way. They're really violent. Don't you think? Mm-hmm. They're really violent, like really violent. Yeah.
Not as bad, I don't think. I mean, I haven't seen much of the remakes, but they're not as bad as
they're
that.
worse. They're worse. Yeah.
What the remakes are?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're more violent. Yeah. So like, it just overall, I'm gonna just say I don't think it was necessary. I don't even think it added much. Now, things I did like kind of like a little bit of the grandma, Jamie Lee Curtis being the grandma.
That was interesting.
And the emotional stuff going on where it's like, you fucked up my life, like the mom
with
and
the daughter,
and the
granddaughter,
also, like,
they were
get
trying
the
to
fuck over,
understand.
get the fuck over Mike Myers. I actually thought that was well done, and I thought this is interesting, I
don't know if it was well done, but it was nice it was included.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Sorry, I mean.
No, I know what you're saying. The music was cool. I was surprised by some of the music was pretty cool.
Yeah, which
John
Carpenter. This is the most he's ever been involved with a Halloween sequel since the
second one,
the third one. He did the soundtrack to the third one.
Oh, did he really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the most he's been involved since.
Yeah.
And he's an executive producer, right?
Yes.
Which would maybe mean he has some kind of creative influence.
Well, I think he's also a creative consultant.
Yeah.
I know. Early, John Carpenter actually said, "Don't do a certain thing." It was going to be. They were actually going to try to recreate the ending of the first one. Somehow with CGI. Like have a CGI Donald Pleasance and like I think what they were going to do is actually show you what happened to Michael probably after he fell and disappeared probably.
Well, they could have just...
I know, they cut it. They completely cut it and John Carpenter said, listen, don't do it. It won't work.
Yeah.
I felt... I'm going back and forth. Like, one thing I found interesting was some of the kills are just abrupt. There's like no, like... out of nowhere he just appears and it's like you're dead, like there's no build up, and I thought that was sort of interesting, something different.
Can you point out? I'm trying to
think like the one where he's looking in the window, he walks around, and next thing you know he just appears and kills her. There's no, I mean,
literally probably the longest single take in the whole movie.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Even the first kill when he runs into those kids, not first kill. I'm sorry, when he enters Haddonfield. He bumps into those kids and then he walks around, he does a couple of things, and then it's just like...
There is a little cut though, isn't there?
Oh, no, I'm not saying it's a long tape. I'm just saying like how abrupt...
Right.
The killings are.
That was an interesting part.
I thought that was interesting. I thought that was interesting because it's like he's a killer. He's not going to have time to fuck around.
And you're right. Like it's like you're. I mean, it's not. They didn't try to go full blown POV.
No.
But it is this weird, like, uncomfortable thing. Like you're walking right behind him, watching how he operates.
Yes.
It's
that was interesting.
Pretty good. Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to spoil. As you know, we're going to spoil stuff. I was shocked by the doctor killing the police officer a little bit. I didn't expect that.
I was shocked, and then I was I was shocked, and then I was just like, again, it was like something where I was like, I couldn't believe it.
Well,
it felt
over. I thought I'm like, this is going to go a really interesting way.
Painfully believable is what I
Yeah,
mean.
well, at first I thought, are they literally going to have this doctor be the killer?
I thought I would have
and
been
I was-
upset. I would have really been upset with that.
I would have too,
'Cause
but I was still like, whoa, I didn't expect, they shocked me with that.
Well,
I
because
mean-
at first you're confused, like, is he dead?
Yeah,
Or is he?
I know. You're right, yeah.
You know?
Um,
Because there's a sheriff character, or he's not the sheriff, is he? The one,
yes, the one from
guy,
the original, I think. Isn't he from the original? The police officer?
You see, I was confused about that. I don't know why I thought he looked like somebody.
I think he's from the original. He's just older.
You're talking about the guy,
The police
he's supposed to be
officer.
the deputy?
Yes, yeah.
But not the guy who talks with Loomis all the time.
I don't know.
You know, he's old. I think he's passed.
Okay, I know
he was an older guy.
He must have had some connection to something.
They keep saying it. Yeah, they kept saying that he keeps saying through the movie, because even him and Laurie Strode
Yes.
like have this understanding.
Yes.
Like she finds him he finds her at one point with a gun.
Yes.
And doesn't really think anything of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
they have this history, and
yeah,
she
it's
knows
kinda
that
like,
she's
yeah.
defending herself
Yes,
and trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
find where
Yes.
Michael Myers
Yeah.
is. So.
Um,
But anyway, yeah, the doctor twist.
that surprised me, I will say. And I felt that was actually a slight nod to the sixth one, which has one of the doctors who originally treated Loomis like helping him. You know, like the cult thing. It's not really a cult, but I mean, in other words,
I didn't like it though when I don't like that idea of Michael being helped.
I know what you're
Because
saying.
if he is this force of nature,
Yes, I got you.
personification of evil, it
Well, I don't
cheapened
know if
it
it's-
for me when
I don't know if it's actually helped. It's more like he's consumed and obsessed with Michael Myers or something.
Yeah, but he still helped Michael Myers keep
He did.
going. 'Cause
Well,
he
he
literally
did.
could have
He did.
totally just died there.
Well, you're right. Yeah, he did.
You know, so that's what I'm saying is like him being helped actually
Yes.
kind of took away from the
Mystique.
the mystique, the
Yes.
creepiness of it. You know,
Yes.
if this was some other movie with a different character,
Yeah.
bad guy, killer,
Yeah.
it would have been less of a thing. But
Yeah.
just it really kind of clashed with the identity of what
Yeah,
this, this Michael Myers is supposed to be.
No, I got you.
You know.
I got you. Yeah, I just was surprised they went for, like, you know, Michael Myers being like superhuman strength. I was shocked by that. I was just like, I thought this was going to be more like
Right,
the
I know.
original.
And again, could bring up his age. The age issue where it's like
Yeah,
he's
I know.
manhandling some of these young people.
Yeah, it just doesn't add
like,
up. Yeah.
You know.
And they kind of do, it's not like traditional, but they do jump scares in a different way. It's like they're a lot of times natural sound effects, but they're loud. You know what I mean? You know, normally what a jump scare will be a loud like music noise or something that, you know what I'm saying?
You sure there wasn't? Sometimes it's almost hard to tell.
I know. Well, like
I felt like
first,
they were kind of doing that. I mean, the biggest offender with the jump scares was how, I mean, it's so obvious how, like you had been saying, they suck out, if you will, the sound.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
It's like, oh man, you know, something's gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, I know,
Like,
I know.
Like, you know, I'm like, you're ready for it. It's
yes.
like, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. You know. It's,
Yeah, I just yeah, there were some.
There were a few moments
Yes.
that didn't follow that formula,
That's
but
what I
I was disappointed with how many times
Yeah.
they went with the jump scare
Yeah.
formula. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
For sure. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird movie. I mean, it's overall. And then as I was watching it, I was criticizing things in my head about it, and I thought, I don't know if this movie and the source material is not really enough there to make anything interesting anymore with it. I mean, you know what I
With
mean?
the
Like,
premise?
yeah, it's a killer who mindlessly kills people. What else can you do with that? So it's just like, whatever. I mean, to me, at a certain point, it's like, this is just another slasher movie. With kills that just pop. He goes around and kills people. It's just like, okay,
Well,
we've seen this 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, that's why I actually am I've always been mixed on the, you know, I don't like how far they went with explaining Michael and why he does what he does or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
But I have always been kind of mixed, and sometimes I'm pretty much fine with it. Sometimes I'm like, whatever, with the connection between him and Laurie Strode. that you know that really is, to me, the fact that they abandoned it actually made some of the scenes play in a way where I was like, you know, if they were related in this new movie, I was saying, like, if they did keep going with their related thing, you know, these scenes, the way they're acting and stuff would make more sense. Like, they act like there's such a connection between these two people.
I know.
You know what I mean? I'm like, well, they're not related, so what are you, like, there's this weird thing they keep trying to roll with, like, you know, Laurie Strode, Michael Myers. Like, I mean, she's just one of the victims who got away. But, like, that's it. Like, why would, it's such a weird thing that they, again, the way they write it, the way it's acted in some of those scenes, I'm like, this is like over the top if you're not related to this guy in any other way besides that he just almost tried to kill you. But you were just indiscriminately one of many victims that he was just coming upon. You know what I mean? So I'm like, if they had kept up with some familial connection, something, I think, I actually think some of those scenes would have played out better. It was almost like awkward and weird. I was like, this is that big of a deal? I mean,
no, I know.
You know, you escaped. I mean, I understand you're kind of messed up from it, but like, what is, you know, they're like, you should, because like the one part where the podcasters, who I kind of found as annoying characters, honestly.
I don't think they're supposed to be likable necessarily, and they don't paint
That's
them
true,
as.
I guess.
I mean, they're painted as not likable.
I mean, well, I'll get into it, but you know, they show up at Laurie Strode's house and they're like, you know, you should go and say goodbye to Michael. And I'm like,
no.
I was just like, this, like, was there some point in the writing process where she was going to be related to him?
Yes.
Like, what? Oh, there was.
There was a point. There was a point where they were going to consider two canon.
Yeah, I mean,
and then for whatever reason they dropped it. So that might be why some of the leftover dialogue.
But it's so obvious to me.
Well,
though.
I think
I mean,
connection.
Not even knowing that,
the connection is her fear of him coming back as revenge to kill, like unfinished business almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like, why are they like, you gotta go and say goodbye to him or talk to him one last time? Like,
the only thing I can argue with that is that she's still obviously consumed with this whole ordeal, and it's like, you know.
But even like you were saying, you had a harder time buying the state that she's such a state of paranoia.
I don't buy it.
After 40 years,
I don't buy it.
She's had a daughter.
Dude, I don't
she has grandchildren, whatever.
It's a joke.
And I mean, the way they handle it in H2O, where, you know, she's still kind of messed up from it.
Every Halloween she has flashbacks. Yeah. But she's a successful woman.
Right, she's a successful woman. She's able to operate pretty well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? She's got some baggage, but
yeah.
You know.
Well, that's where I feel like H2O is better. I mean, if you're gonna, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I actually felt overall, H2O also was just better. Like you really.
I go back to watch that before I come back to watch.
Exactly. Yeah. It
Halloween 2018.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, like, I mean, you get like a charge when she's getting revenge and getting back at Michael in H2O.
Yeah.
This one felt very underwhelming. It was just kind of like
it was like underwhelming.
Yeah, it was
I think a lot.
I didn't get any. I didn't get anything from it. Like
between Laurie and Michael. Like, it was they play it up, and I'm like, I'm actually not believing
some of it.
This,
some of the build up to him for him to get there and stuff. I felt like, oh, this could be exciting. Like they kind of build that up, and it's like when he goes to her house. You know, when he slowly gets to her house. Michael Myers. The build up, just like, oh, what's going to happen? It's going to be like a showdown. You know what I mean?
Again, though, he was aided by this crazy doctor.
Well, I know, but that's
like, well, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, it was odd. I mean, it still shocked me. I was still surprised.
Again, it did me too, but I mean,
and then the part where he's in the
gas station mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was like a throwback to Halloween 4 when he ends up there on his way from the hospital.
It's it's kind of a new spin on the H2O scene.
Yeah,
where the mother and daughter, whatever, she goes into the bathroom.
Yes.
He comes in there too, but he literally just leaves her alone.
Yes,
right?
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
even know why he comes in there. It is. Doesn't he find them? I can't.
There's
remember.
some reason why he goes there, and I can't remember.
Yeah, but he doesn't bother her. It's literally, but it
builds like
it's just
something
intense,
bad's gonna happen.
happen.
Something's gonna happen.
Which I felt like that's the kind of thing where it does feel more like John Carpenter's original style with how he approached the original movie.
Yeah.
With this being this Western where like it's literally killing you because you're like, in a good way, hopefully, that is he going to kill her? Oh no, wow! And they keep surprising you like, and then finally the floodgates open.
Yeah.
When you're like literally like, oh my gosh, you know. Whereas in this movie, I mean, it has more to do with literally the editing of shots and stuff than it does with him killing, earlier than like in the original.
Yeah.
Because actually, he doesn't really have any menacing presence until, he's not able to start killing people until it's almost like halfway through the movie, at least, right? When you say actually, it's
the original, or are we talking?
No, I'm talking about the new one.
Oh yeah. That's also where I felt like it was a missed opportunity because it kind of leads you to believe it's going to be a slow burn, but it feels like everything happens very quickly. Like there's not that much build up, and then he has a way over the top murder in the with the teeth.
Yeah.
In the shot where he kills the woman reporter.
The podcaster and also the guy.
Yeah. And it was just like, okay, and he has his teeth in his hand and he just drops them. I don't know, it just seemed like almost out of character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Because it's like everything he does is pretty much in order to get to somebody to kill them, but like in there he's like teasing them or some sort of, but...
It's a weird movie. I got the vibe like they tried. They're trying something, but it just failed really bad. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, in other words, it doesn't feel like another sequel where it's like, okay, they're just trying to cash grab here. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, it doesn't feel like Halloween 5 or Halloween 6 where it's like a rushed product where it's just like, just throw it out, hopefully they'll make a couple of bucks. You know what I mean? I got the feeling like there was some effort put into it, but it just didn't work. A lot of stuff failed.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like...
I wouldn't feel it maybe as strongly as you're putting it, but... I think there was some effort. I think, they talked up how Danny McBride was a huge fan.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think Danny
people...
McBride's like, oh yeah, I'll just make a bunch of money off this story. I think he did try. It didn't work. And also, maybe it's not his fault. I mean, maybe, I don't know how much changed from what he wrote versus what ends up on screen. I felt the ending was underwhelming again. It just ended really abruptly, and it was just kind of like, okay. That was kind of a throwback to
and
this
that was
Halloween
another
2.
twist where they're like, oh man, they turn the tables on him and like, no, this is your tune. This is, like where she's like, I can't do it, Mom, I can't do it. And
I actually didn't mind
appears,
that, to be honest.
I just thought when she's like, gotcha.
Oh, I didn't like that.
I was like, whoa.
And I didn't like it because it reminded me of Resurrection. When Jamie Lee Curtis is like, Happy Halloween. Remember?
In Resurrection she does that?
No. In the new one. It reminded me
of like
Busta Rhymes going, Happy
like,
Halloween, Mikey. That's what it reminded me of. Sweet motherfucker.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
That was like, it's like are you not under trauma here? Or
you know what's bad about it is it's done in a way where the filmmakers, the actors and actresses think that it's a moment where you're going to go, yes!
Yeah, I know, it's so...
But it doesn't work. It falls flat and you're like...
At least for us.
Yeah, and it made me cringe, actually.
I'm telling you, if she had just maybe tricked him when she was holding the gun...
I kind of like that. The idea of him, I'm like, oh, she's going to fucking drop the gun and he'll just...
I know, I was like, I will say, right, but then when they literally when she's like, gotcha.
Well,
she should have just been
unnecessary.
Like, it should have been
just a shot
where she's just like, she's doing that, and then she's like, bam.
Yeah, that's
you know
what I'm saying.
Instead of like, you know, like
God kill it.
like a
and
total,
then Jamie
like,
Lee Curtis is like,
it's
Happy Halloween, Mikey, or whatever she says, you know.
that was like so weird.
Yeah, it was weird.